You're a newborn Viltrumite, eyes barely open, lying in a sterile metal pod that looks like it was designed by a grumpy spaceship engineer. Armored doctors, who probably deadlift starships for fun, hover over you, jabbing at screens that scream, "Not baby approved. Strong enough." One grumbles, like you're a new battle drone, not a squirming infant. Welcome to Viltrum, kid, where survival is a VIP pass you have to earn before you can even say goo goo. It sucks. Forget cozy cribs or lullabies about twinkling stars. Viltrumite babies get tossed into gravity chambers set to Earth's evil twin mode, 4 times the pressure of our puny planet. Your tiny muscles burn as you try to lift your head, feeling like you're bench pressing a moon. Crying? Big no-no. On Viltrum, tears are a one-way ticket to the weakling list, and that list is shorter than a comet's tail. Your parents decked out in battle armor like they're starring in a sci-fi war flick, watch from the sidelines. "He'll do," they mutter, like they're picking out a new laser sword, not raising a kid. No hugs, no cuddles, just a nod and a "don't mess this up" vibe. By age 2, you're less adorable toddler and more pint-sized powerlifter. While Earth kids are stacking colorful blocks, you're chucking weighted slabs like they're beach balls. You're not just walking, you're starting to float, because Viltrumites unlock levitation before they master sippy cups. Cool, right? Nope. Floating means it's time for flight training, which is less soaring like a hero, and more crashing into walls while your parents take notes like judgmental sports coaches. Fall over? No one's rushing to kiss your boo-boo. They just stand there, arms crossed, muttering. A true Viltrumite doesn't need a nap. Thanks for the warm fuzzies, Mom. At 5, you're thrown into the Juvenile Combat Initiative. Sounds like a fancy after-school program, but it's really just a toddler fight club with 0 juice boxes. Your first opponent is Zarg, a kid built like a mini tank with the charm of a ticked-off space badger. The rules? Knock him out or get squashed like a bug. Zarg charges, his fist swinging like a wrecking ball, and you hit the dirt faster than a bad joke at a comedy club. "Get up," your instructor barks, because Viltrumites don't believe in timeouts or participation trophies. You scramble up, throw a wild punch at Zarg's chin, and he drops like a sack of cosmic potatoes. The crowd, other kids and their equally intense parents cheers, but it's less "way to go" and more "nice, you're not dead yet." School on Viltrum makes Earth's toughest classes look like a picnic. History is just propaganda about how Viltrumites are the universe's ultimate VIPs, destined to rule everything with an iron fist and a killer mustache. Science class, all about crafting weapons that could zap a planet to dust. Math? You're calculating how many punches it takes to flatten a city, or how much fuel a death ray needs. PE is just combat training with extra burpees. And failing a test doesn't mean a bad grade. It means a one-way trip to the weakling pile. You learn about the Great Purge, when Viltrumites decided to spring clean by wiping out anyone who wasn't strong enough. Half the planet got erased, but the survivors built a shiny empire on the rubble. As a kid, you're told this is something to high-five about, but it's hard not to wonder if your ancestors were just the galaxy's meanest bullies. By 10, you're sent on your first field trip. Not to a fun zoo or museum, but to a planet Viltrum just turned into a cosmic landfill. The air smells like a barbecue gone horribly wrong, and the skies are darker than your instructor's sense of humor. You trail behind General Krull, a Viltrumite who looks like he snacks on asteroids and bench presses comets. He points to a line of chained rebels, their faces paler than a ghost convention, and says, "Decide their fate." You're 10. You still sneak extra snacks when no one's looking. But hesitation is weakness, and weakness is a death sentence. With a shaky hand, you point to the execution squad, and just like that, they're gone. That night, you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if you're the hero or the bad guy in this messed-up story. Spoiler, Viltrum doesn't do soul-searching or therapy sessions. At 15, you're handed your first solo mission, lead a squad to crush a rebel outpost on a nearby planet. Viltrumites don't bother with clunky spaceships. They just zip through space like intergalactic delivery drivers, holding their breath for weeks and flying faster than a speeding meteor. You and your team swoop in, expecting an easy win, but the rebels are packing weapons that could make a starship cry. The mission turns into a chaotic mess, like a sci-fi action movie with a terrible script. You pull it off, but half your squad doesn't make it back. When you limp home, your instructor slaps your shoulder and says, "A win's a win." No one mentions the friends you lost or the nightmares you'll have. Just another day in the Viltrumite grind. Now you're 16, and it's time for the Viltrumite Trials, the ultimate prove you're not a loser gauntlet. Think Hunger Games, but with more bruises and zero care packages. You're dropped on a moon with gravity so heavy it feels like you're lugging a spaceship on your back. The goal? Survive a week of races, fights, and challenges that make military boot camp look like a spa day. Day 1 is a sprint across a rocky wasteland that chews up your boots and your willpower. Every step sends pain shooting through your legs, but stopping isn't an option. Stragglers get eaten by the moon's creepy critters, or left to rot. Next up is a combat arena where only the top 20 advance. You face Zarg again, now bigger than a monster truck and holding a grudge like it's his full-time job. He swings, you duck, and with a quick jab to his temple, he's out like a broken light bulb. The instructors nod, but their faces scream, "That's it! Step it up!" By day 3, only 12 of you are left, and the trials throw a curveball. Teamwork. Hilarious, since Viltrumites are about as team-oriented as a pack of grumpy space cats. You're paired with Kren, a quiet guy who fights like a ninja, and Vexa, who's so reckless she'd probably punch a black hole just to see what happens. Your task is to storm a fake rebel base guarded by real Viltrumite soldiers who hit like freight trains. Vexa charges in like she's the star of a bad action flick, gets ambushed, and Kren has to drag her back before she's toast. You take charge, sketching a plan on a dusty rock like a budget general. It's messy, but it works. You outsmart the guards and take the base. The instructors praise your leadership, but roast Vexa for being impulsive. A team's only as strong as its weakest link. They snap. Vexa glares, but you all know the deal. Even teamwork is just a tool to crush your enemies. The final trial is a free-for-all death match in a maze of cliffs, caves, and traps that make an obstacle course look like a playground. The objective? Be the last one standing. Alliances form and dissolve faster than a bad reality show. You team up with Kren, picking off weaker opponents like you're in a cosmic video game. By day 3, it's just you, Kren, a beefy guy named Tark, and a psycho called the Brute. Tark and the Brute gang up, forcing you and Kren into a buddy cop showdown. You take out Tark with a well-placed kick, and Kren handles the Brute with a punch that could crack a moon. Now, it's just you two. You've fought side by side, saved each other's lives, but this is Viltrum. With a heavy heart, you knock Kren out cold. The instructors declare you a winner, and you're one of 3 survivors out of 30. They hand you a shiny badge, but it feels like a chain around your neck. By your 20s, you're a full-fledged Viltrumite warrior, zipping across the galaxy to crush rebellions and conquer planets. It's the same old routine. Fly in, punch hard, move on. You've got the mandatory mustache now, because apparently Viltrum's government thinks facial hair is a personality trait, like conquest or punching. You're stronger than ever, but the grind is relentless. You start to wonder if this is all there is, just an endless loop of smashing stuff for an empire that doesn't even know your favorite food. It's space tacos, by the way. In your 30s, you're sent to a planet called Thraxa, where the locals are tougher than a burnt asteroid. They fight back with weapons that sting even your near-invincible skin. You win, but it takes days instead of hours, and you lose more squad mates. Back on Viltrum, no one cares about the losses, just the victory. Your instructor hands you a medal, but it's as cold as the void of space. You start noticing cracks in the Empire's shiny facade. Planets are rebelling more often, and whispers of dissent are spreading, even among Viltrumites. Some soldiers talk in hushed tones about choice or freedom, words that sound as foreign as a hug. By your 40s, the Empire's shine is fading faster than a cheap spaceship paint job. Rebellions that used to take a day now drag on for weeks, sometimes months. You're still young-looking. Viltrumites age slower than a snail on vacation. But the constant fighting is wearing you down. You've got scars, not from battles. You heal too fast for that. But from the weight of every choice you've made. You start questioning the Empire's mantra of strength above all. Is it strength to crush everyone, or just fear dressed up in a cape? You push the thoughts down, because doubting is dangerous, and Viltrumites don't do feelings. In your 50s, you get word your dad died in a training accident. Yeah, right. Rumors say he questioned the Empire's endless conquests, maybe even spoke out against them. Viltrum doesn't like questions, and it really doesn't like answers. At his funeral, they drone on about his battle stats, how many planets he conquered, how many rebels he crushed. No one mentions the time he taught you to fly, zooming you around the training grounds like a kid on a joyride. No one talks about how he'd sneak you extra protein paste or tell you stories about stars that weren't just targets for conquest. They paint him as a loyal soldier, but you remember the way he'd stare at the sky, like he was searching for something better. Was he a hero, or did he see through the Viltrumite lie? Being a Viltrumite means power, sure, but it's a life of endless battles, 0 hugs, and a mustache you didn't ask for. You're born to dominate, to crush, to conquer, but at what cost? By the time you're old enough to ask questions, you're too deep in the Empire's grip to break free. You're a warrior, a survivor, a Viltrumite, but you're also a cog in a machine that doesn't care if you burn out. So, yeah, it sucks to be born a Viltrumite. Unless your idea of a good time is a lifetime of cosmic cage matches, no intermission, and a mustache that's legally required. Think being born a Viltrumite is brutal? Wait till you see what it's like growing up as the disappointment of their empire. If surviving birth was hard, try being invincible. Click here to see why Mark Grayson's life might be the toughest of them all.